I'm going to show you around the stadium today. Welcome everyone in the Johan Cruijff ArenA. I'm sure you guys all know that this is the stadium of Ajax. I'm sure you guys all know Ajax. Do you also support Ajax or not really? Really? Well, after today you will be supporting Ajax, don't worry. And this is also the stadium of the Dutch national team. They also play their games in the stadium. Unless there's an event, for example concerts, as you can see on this wall. There's also a lot of concerts and other festivals in the stadium. And of course when that happens, the Netherlands has to play in a different stadium. The stadium was opened in 1996. Back then it was called the Amsterdam ArenA. And in 2016 Johan Cruijff passed away. And in 2018 Ajax in Amsterdam decided to name the stadium after him. And since then it's called the Johan Cruijff ArenA. Well, Johan Cruijff, I'm sure you guys all know him as well. One of the best players of all time. You see this little board over here, his statue over here and the picture up there. And you will see him everywhere in the stadium, of course. One of the best players of all time and the best player for Ajax of all time. And also the best Dutch player of all time. So when he passed away, Ajax in Amsterdam thought it was a good idea to name the stadium after him. And I don't think that will ever change. You can also see number 14 up there and on the back of him over here. That's the number he played with for Ajax and that's now a retired number. That means nobody is allowed to play with number 14 anymore unless you're family of Johan Cruijff. Johan Cruijff, you can choose to play with number 14 if you want to. So, we're going to go upstairs to the away dressing room first, then we'll walk through the players' tunnel into the stadium, then from the stadium to the Ajax dressing room, then we have the mix zone, the press room, and at the end we have the museum. We did win the championship, but he never actually got to celebrate the title with us, and all other players did. But an incredible player scored 111 goals for us in 3.5 years, so yeah. And then we sold him again for a record amount to Liverpool. And also, his first biting incident was also in the stadium in 2011, and that's shortly after that he left. Next one, well, you already named him. Dennis Bergkamp, also one of the best players of all time, probably. Does anyone know his nickname? The non-flying Dutchman, and why is that his name? Yeah, he's afraid of flying indeed. He did miss some games actually if it was too far away. Or if there was a game abroad, he would leave a couple of days earlier if possible with the bus or with the car. But yeah, he was afraid of flying. That's why he's the non-flying Dutchman. Won 3 Ballon d'Ors in his career. Sadly had to retire at age 28 because of his injuries. He himself said he could have been better than Cristiano Ronaldo if he could have played into his 30s. I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure he would have gotten close. Yes. Next one. Johan Cruijff. If you don't know this one, you should leave the stadium, I always say. Johan Cruijff, of course. We saved the best for last. He actually grew up right next to the old stadium, De Meer. He grew up right next to it. And his mom worked in the stadium as a cleaner, so he had some connections in the club. And as a young guy, he learned playing football on the street. He was, of course, really good at football. He went on a trial in the youth academy, got into the youth academy. Came through the youth academy into the first team, won 3 Champions Leagues with us in 1971, 72 and 73, as you can see on that wall over there. Then left to Barcelona, of course, and then after his career as a player, as a manager, completely changed the way football is played, and every game we still watch is influenced by the way he thought about football. So yeah, I think it makes sense that we named the stadium after him because he's a big legend of football and a big legend of Ajax. And we had a pretty basic logo and also a really simple shirt. Well, you just mentioned Athletic Bilbao, they also have this shirt. And there's a lot of clubs in the world with the red and white stripes. It's really not original. So until 1911 we played on the second level, and in 1911 we became champions of the second level and we promoted to the first league. There was already a team playing with this shirt in the first league. Does anyone know which team that is? They still play in the Dutch league. Yes. No, they do play with this shirt, but it was not them back then. Not Feyenoord? No, but they're from Rotterdam. Anyone? No? Sparta Rotterdam. They still play with this shirt as well, and they're even older than us. So when we promoted to the first league, they told us to change shirts because they're older than us and they wanted to keep their own shirt. So we were forced to change shirts, and we came up with this one in 1911. Well, I'm sure you can recognize this shirt because it's a shirt we still have nowadays. And all Ajax fans are really happy with this change because we went from a really simple, non-original shirt to our own unique Ajax iconic shirt with the red stripe in the middle. And there's no other club, at least no other big club in the world with this shirt. And that's why France Football chose this as the most iconic football shirt in the world. because we are a club with a lot of history and we have our own unique shirt, and that's why this is a really unique shirt. In 1928 we had become a bit of a bigger club, we had won a couple of championships, so we decided to change logos again, so let's go over there. The two older ones most fans don't even know about, these are the two logos that matters. This is the first one, as we call the old logo. We call this the old logo and this the new logo. And this is the old logo. Does anyone know who this is? The face, who it is? Does anyone know? Well, this face is actually Ajax himself. We're named after a Greek hero and this is him. Around 1900, a lot of Dutch clubs were naming their club after a Greek hero. So we are called Ajax. We also just mentioned Sparta, which is of course also from the Greek mythology. We have a club Achilles, Hercules, Heracles. There's a lot of Dutch clubs who named their club after Greek heroes around the time. And we basically just joined the trend and we named their club after Ajax. The reason we chose Ajax is because Ajax has won every battle he fought in his life. And we also want to win every game. We also want to win every battle. So that's why we chose Ajax for our club. As you can see, this is a really beautiful detailed logo. It basically could have been art, could have been a painting. That brings one problem with it, and it is merchandise, because this logo is quite difficult to print out. When you make this logo a lot smaller, the details fall away. So when merchandise was really coming up around in the 90s, they decided to change logos. They decided to go for a more simple design, which is just easier to print out when you make it smaller, less details. So yeah, as you can see, it's really similar. It's still Ajax, he's still looking at the same side, but it's just much more simple. A kid could have made this basically. A fun thing about this logo is that the head of Ajax is made out of 11 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 lines. Of course, the 11 lines stand for the 11 players on the pitch. The 11 players on the pitch, they form a team. The 11 lines on the logo form one face, and that's the idea behind it. And if you want to make it even better, you have 11, 12, 13, 14, and of course that's the number of Johan Cruijff, that's the number he played with. And that way, Johan Cruijff is always also a little bit in our logo. And also the 3 stars got added above the logo. Fun fact is that actually it's a little bit smaller than the away room if you're just looking at the size of the room. But the atmosphere is just much better. It just feels much warmer. It is also about 2 degrees warmer in this room actually. Another little thing too, I know the opponent a little bit. It's a little bit warmer in this room. And I think the way the lights fall on the shirts is just really nice. And I really like the atmosphere. And the logo in here is of course also very beautiful. So, I like to start over there. Well, there's nobody sitting over there. In the middle, number 23, Steven Berghuis. That seat is very special. Why do you guys think that's a special seat? The captain, yes. Of course, the captain sits over there usually. And why does the captain sit there? Exactly, you're in the middle of the room, you're the captain. So if you want to speak to the whole team, you can stand up and you can look at everyone easy. And that's also why they made the room a little bit round. So that the captain, if he wants to speak to the team, he can actually look at everyone. And also when the manager is on this side or when I'm on this side, I can actually speak to everyone and look everyone in the eyes. And it makes it easier to hold a speech. So it was opened in 1996. It took 4 years to build. It started in 1992. It took 4 years. In 1996 they opened it, and I think it cost about 200 million to build. So quite a big happening basically. Yeah. So when the stadium was opened, the first few years was about 51,000, 52,000. Now it's 56,000. They added a couple of thousand seats extra. Yeah. The first one that comes to mind is 2011, the final game of the season actually against Twente. So in 2010, Twente won the title, and then in 2011 we played against Twente in this stadium, the last game of the season. We were equal for first place, the winner would win the championship basically. And we won that game, and there was also our 30th title. So we became the first team with 3 stars in the Netherlands. And that was a really important game and probably the most important one in the stadium, yeah. On top of the roof, when the roof is completely open, there's 4,200 solar panels on top of the roof. That means, of course, a lot of energy from that. And the goal is to be self-sustainable by 2030. And they're also going to send energy to companies and big buildings around the stadium. And they're going to be completely self-sustainable by that. It's a hybrid pitch, so it's a mix of both. It feels like a real grass pitch, but there's about 8 or 9% artificial grass in it, and that makes it easier to control, and it also gives the players more grip during the game.
Thanks a lot.
Yes?
I appreciate it.